There was a time when her voice seemed almost impossible to escape. It floated from radios in millions of homes. It echoed through concert halls filled with thunderous applause. It became the soundtrack to weddings, heartbreaks, long drives, and unforgettable moments across generations. With every note she sang, she made elegance sound effortless. To the world, Dionne Warwick appeared to be living the dream, a glamorous superstar with timeless beauty, international fame, and a career that countless artists could only hope to achieve. But time has a way of revealing what success often hides. Today, as Dionne Warwick approaches her 86th birthday, many people have begun asking a difficult question. What happened to one of America's greatest voices? How did a woman who once stood at the very peak of the music industry eventually face struggles that few fans ever imagined? Behind the awards, the standing ovations, and the glittering television appearances was a woman carrying burdens that the cameras rarely captured. Her journey was filled with extraordinary triumphs, but it also contained painful disappointments, enormous pressure, personal sacrifice, and challenges that would test even the strongest spirit. Before those difficult years arrived, however, there was a remarkable beginning. A story rooted not in luxury or celebrity, but in faith, family, determination, and an extraordinary gift that would eventually change popular music forever. This is the remarkable early life of Dionne Warwick. Born Marie Dionne Warwick on December 12, 1940, in the East Orange section of Orange, she entered a family where music was woven into everyday life. Long before she became a household name, singing was simply part of who she was. Her father, Mansell Warwick, worked in several professions over the years, including as a Pullman porter, chef, and record promoter. Her mother, Lee Drinkard Warwick, managed the renowned Drinkard Singers, one of the most respected gospel groups of its era. Music wasn't merely entertainment in their home, it was an expression of faith, discipline, and community. The Drinkard family itself was remarkably talented. Dionne grew up surrounded by gifted singers whose harmonies filled churches throughout New Jersey. Music rehearsals often became family gatherings, and gospel songs echoed through the household from morning until night. It was in church that young Dionne first discovered the incredible power of her own voice. Unlike many future stars who dreamed only of fame, Dionne learned early that music carried a deeper purpose. Gospel singing demanded precision, emotion, and humility. Every performance required discipline rather than showmanship. Those lessons would remain with her throughout her career. Even as a child, relatives noticed something unusual about her voice. It possessed a smoothness and emotional maturity far beyond her years. Rather than relying on dramatic vocal flourishes, Dionne communicated feeling with remarkable subtlety, a quality that would later distinguish her from nearly every other popular singer of her generation. During her teenage years, she continued developing both academically and musically. She attended East Orange High School before enrolling at the Hart College of Music in Hartford, where she planned to study music education. At the time, becoming a global recording artist wasn't necessarily her primary ambition. Teaching music seemed like a practical and meaningful path. Yet destiny had already begun arranging opportunities she could never have predicted. While attending college, Dionne formed a vocal trio with her sister Dee Warwick and their aunt Cissy Houston, who would later become famous in her own right and eventually become the mother of Whitney Houston. The group, known as the Gospelaries, earned extra income by singing backup vocals during recording sessions in New York City. Those sessions changed everything. Working quietly behind established performers introduced Dionne to some of the music industry's most creative minds. She wasn't seeking the spotlight. She was simply doing professional session work with remarkable consistency. Then came the encounter that transformed her future. Composer Burt Bacharach and lyricist Hal David were searching for a distinctive voice, someone capable of delivering sophisticated melodies with clarity, elegance, and emotional restraint. When Bacharach heard Dionne sing, he immediately recognized something extraordinary. Her voice wasn't loud. It wasn't overly dramatic. It wasn't designed to overwhelm listeners. Instead, it possessed remarkable control, warmth, and honesty. She could express heartbreak without sounding desperate and hope without sounding exaggerated. It was exactly what Bacharach's complex musical arrangements required. Their partnership would become one of the most successful collaborations in popular music history. One of Dionne's earliest recordings, Don't Make Me Over, released in 1962, introduced audiences to a completely fresh vocal style. The song became a significant hit and announced the arrival of a major new talent. More successes followed with astonishing speed. Songs such as Anyone Who Had a Heart, Walk On By, I Say a Little Prayer, Do You Know the Way to San Jose, and I'll Never Fall in Love Again became international classics. What made these recordings so special wasn't simply the melodies. It was Dionne's interpretation. Every lyric sounded believable. Every phrase carried emotional weight without unnecessary theatrics. Her ability to balance sophistication with vulnerability attracted audiences across generations. As the 1960s progressed, Dionne Warwick became one of America's defining musical voices. She crossed barriers that had limited many black female artists of the era, achieving enormous mainstream success both in the United States and internationally. Television appearances multiplied. Concert venues grew larger. Record sales soared. Before long, she was selling millions of records worldwide. The honors followed naturally. Throughout her career, Dionne would earn multiple Grammy Awards, receive numerous industry recognitions, and eventually become one of the best-selling female vocalists of all time. Her recordings consistently appeared on the charts, and critics praised both her technical brilliance and emotional intelligence. Financial success accompanied the fame. Luxurious homes, elegant fashion, international travel, prestigious award ceremonies, and performances before distinguished audiences became part of everyday life. To millions watching from afar, it seemed she had achieved everything anyone could possibly desire. Yet success often carries invisible costs. The music industry moved relentlessly. Recording schedules became exhausting. Concert tours kept her away from home for extended periods. Every new album faced enormous expectations because each success raised the standard even higher. Behind the polished public image stood a woman working tirelessly to maintain artistic excellence while balancing family life and the growing demands of worldwide celebrity. Even her groundbreaking partnership with Burt Bacharach and Hal David required extraordinary dedication. Bacharach's compositions were famously complex, demanding precision and endless rehearsal. Dionne met those expectations repeatedly, but perfection always came at a price. Away from audiences, she also navigated the realities of marriage and motherhood while building one of the busiest careers in entertainment. Balancing professional ambition with personal responsibilities was never simple, especially during an era when women were often expected to sacrifice one for the other. Still, she persevered with remarkable grace. To fans, she remained poised, sophisticated, and endlessly confident. Few realized that maintaining such an image demanded constant emotional strength. The applause never revealed the fatigue. The awards never erased the pressure. The chart-topping records never guaranteed peace of mind. As the years passed, Dionne Warwick stood among the greatest voices in American music, a symbol of elegance, talent, and timeless success. But beneath that extraordinary career, forces were quietly gathering that would reshape her life in ways no amount of fame could prevent. The brightest years had made her a legend. The years ahead would test whether even a legend could endure heartbreak, public setbacks, financial turmoil, and the relentless passage of time. For decades, Dionne Warwick seemed untouchable. She had conquered the charts, earned the respect of fellow musicians, and become one of the most recognizable voices in the world. Her songs continued to play on radio stations across generations, and audiences still associated her with grace, sophistication, and success. But fame has never been a guarantee of stability. Behind the applause, the music industry was changing. New musical styles emerged, younger artists dominated the charts, and the sound that had made Dionne Warwick a superstar no longer occupied the center of popular culture. Like many legendary performers before her, she faced the difficult reality that every generation eventually gives way to the next. This transition was gradual rather than sudden, but it was emotionally challenging. The woman who had once released one hit after another now had to work harder to remain visible in an increasingly competitive industry. Still, Dionne refused to disappear. Throughout the 1970s and early 1980s, she reinvented herself several times. Her determination paid off in spectacular fashion when she reunited professionally with producer Barry Manilow for the 1982 album Heartbreaker. The title track, written by the Bee Gees, became an international success and reminded the world that her remarkable voice had lost none of its elegance. Only a few years later, another unforgettable moment arrived. In 1985, she joined Elton John, Gladys Knight, and Stevie Wonder to record That's What Friends Are For. Originally created to raise money for AIDS research, the song became a worldwide phenomenon. It topped the Billboard charts and raised millions of dollars for charity, while introducing Dionne to an entirely new generation of listeners. The achievement proved something important. Even after more than 2 decades in the spotlight, she could still inspire audiences around the world. Yet while her public image remained polished, private pressures continued to grow. Maintaining a career spanning decades required constant touring, business negotiations, recording commitments, and financial management. Like many entertainers, Dionne relied on teams of accountants, managers, and advisors to oversee complicated financial matters. Success generated enormous income, but it also created enormous financial obligations. Then came one of the most difficult chapters of her life. In 2013, news broke that shocked many longtime fans. Dionne Warwick had filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy protection. To people who remembered her years of extraordinary success, the announcement seemed almost unbelievable. How could an artist who had sold millions of records find herself facing such financial hardship? The reality was far more complicated than many headlines suggested. Court documents showed that much of her financial difficulties centered on tax liabilities accumulated over many years. According to public filings, she owed millions of dollars in unpaid taxes to both federal and state authorities. Reports indicated that penalties and interest had grown over time, dramatically increasing the amount owed. Her representatives emphasized that the situation was largely connected to years of financial mismanagement rather than extravagant personal spending. They stated publicly that Dionne believed her finances had been handled appropriately by others and that she had not fully understood the seriousness of the tax problems until they became overwhelming. The bankruptcy filings painted a striking picture. Despite decades of fame, reports indicated that her monthly income had become relatively modest compared to the debts she faced. For fans who had watched her perform before sold-out audiences around the world, it was a heartbreaking reminder that celebrity does not always guarantee lasting financial security. Rather than hiding from the situation, Dionne addressed it publicly with remarkable honesty. She acknowledged the difficulty of facing such personal challenges in front of the entire world. Although the experience was undoubtedly painful, she refused to allow it to define her entire legacy. Instead, she continued performing whenever possible, determined to rebuild both financially and professionally. Her resilience earned widespread respect. Many observers admired the dignity with which she handled such public adversity. Instead of blaming others endlessly or withdrawing completely from public life, she continued moving forward one step at a time. Financial hardship, however, was only one part of the emotional burden she carried. Over the years, Dionne also endured heartbreaking personal losses. Among the most devastating was the death of her cousin, Whitney Houston, in 2012. Whitney was not simply one of the greatest singers of all time. She was family. Dionne had watched her grow from childhood into an international superstar. Their families had always been deeply connected through music and faith, making Whitney's sudden passing especially painful. Speaking publicly afterward, Dionne expressed profound sorrow while also encouraging people to remember Whitney for her extraordinary talent rather than the circumstances surrounding her death. Only a few years later, another heartbreaking loss struck the family. In 2020, Whitney's mother, and Dionne's beloved aunt, Cissy Houston, passed away. Cissy had been an important musical influence throughout Dionne's life, helping shape the remarkable gospel tradition from which so many members of the family emerged. Losing 2 beloved family members within the same decade left an emotional mark that no amount of professional success could erase. As the years advanced, aging naturally brought new physical challenges as well. Dionne has spoken openly in interviews about slowing down and recognizing that the body changes with age. She has acknowledged that maintaining the demanding touring schedule of her younger years became increasingly difficult. Long flights, constant travel, and back-to-back performances required far more energy than they once had. Although rumors have occasionally circulated online about serious illnesses, Dionne has often addressed misinformation directly, reminding fans not to believe every sensational story shared on social media. Publicly verified information indicates that while she has experienced the normal health realities associated with aging, she has continued making appearances and working when able, without confirming many of the dramatic claims that have circulated online. Even so, reaching her mid-80s has inevitably meant adjusting to new limitations. The glamorous pace of earlier decades is no longer possible. Energy must be carefully managed. Rest becomes more important. Every public appearance requires thoughtful preparation. Yet perhaps the greatest challenge has not been physical, it has been emotional. Imagine spending a lifetime performing before thousands of cheering fans, only to watch the entertainment world constantly shift toward newer faces and different sounds. For any legendary performer, that transition can be difficult to accept. Dionne Warwick has approached that reality with remarkable perspective. Rather than expressing bitterness, she has often spoken about gratitude for her career, for the music, and for the generations of listeners who continue discovering her songs. She has remained active on social media, where her wit and humor have introduced her to younger audiences who admire her honesty and playful personality. Those moments have reminded the public that beneath the legendary voice is a woman who has never completely lost her sense of humor, even after enduring disappointment, financial turmoil, and personal grief. She continued accepting interviews, participating in charitable causes, and making select performances, proving that resilience sometimes speaks louder than success itself. Still, there is no escaping the passage of time. The dazzling years of non-stop hit records, glamorous tours, and constant chart success now belong to history. The woman who once seemed to have everything has experienced losses that money could not prevent and challenges that fame could not erase. She survived them all. But the life Dionne Warwick lives today is far quieter, far more reflective, and profoundly different from the glittering world that millions of fans remember from the height of her extraordinary career. Today, as Dionne Warwick approaches her 86th birthday, the world sees a very different woman from the glamorous superstar who once dominated radio waves around the globe. The dazzling gowns are still remembered. The timeless voice is still celebrated. The classic recordings continue to introduce new generations to her remarkable talent. But her daily life has become far quieter than the whirlwind that once defined her career. For someone who spent decades traveling from city to city, appearing on television almost constantly, and performing before thousands of devoted fans, slowing down has been one of life's greatest adjustments. Yet Dionne Warwick has embraced this chapter with remarkable dignity. She spends much of her time with family, close friends, and the people who have remained by her side through every stage of her extraordinary journey. Although she no longer maintains the exhausting touring schedule that once filled nearly every week of the year, she has never completely stepped away from public life. Instead, she has chosen her appearances carefully. Whether attending special events, participating in charity functions, giving interviews, or making occasional concert appearances, Dionne continues to remind audiences that her love for music has never disappeared. Her voice has naturally matured with age, just as every great singer's does. While no performer can completely escape the physical realities of growing older, fans often admire the warmth, elegance, and unmistakable character that still remain whenever she performs. Like millions of older adults, Dionne has acknowledged that aging requires adjustments. Travel can be more demanding. Long performances require more preparation. Energy must be carefully protected. These are not dramatic tragedies but simple realities that accompany a long life, especially after spending more than 6 decades in one of the world's most demanding professions. Despite countless rumors that have circulated online over the years, there has been no verified public evidence of the many sensational health stories that occasionally appear on social media. Dionne herself has often responded with humor, encouraging people not to believe everything they read on the internet. That sense of humor has become one of the most surprising chapters of her later life. In recent years, millions of younger people discovered an entirely different side of Dionne Warwick, not through her classic songs, but through her witty and clever social media presence. Her playful observations, humorous responses to celebrities, and genuine curiosity about younger artists quickly attracted enormous attention online. Many people who had never heard Walk On By, or Do You Know the Way to San Jose, suddenly found themselves following an 80-something music legend whose sharp wit rivaled performers decades younger. It was a remarkable reinvention. Without changing who she was, Dionne found a new way to connect with audiences. She proved that personality can be just as timeless as talent. Family has also remained one of the most important parts of her life. Throughout her career, she has spoken lovingly about her 2 sons, David Elliott and Damon Elliott. Damon, in particular, followed a musical path of his own, becoming a respected producer, songwriter, and composer who has worked with numerous major artists. Watching her children build successful lives has become one of her greatest sources of pride. As the family has grown to include grandchildren, Dionne has often spoken about appreciating the quieter moments that celebrity once made difficult to enjoy. The spotlight that once consumed nearly every day no longer defines her identity. Family does. Faith does. Reflection does. Financially, the challenges that once made international headlines no longer dominate discussions about her life. Although her 2013 bankruptcy became one of the most painful public chapters of her career, the years since have demonstrated her determination to keep moving forward. She has continued working, participating in projects, licensing her music, and making appearances while maintaining the grace that has long characterized her public image.